What's up, guys? I haven't seen you guys in forever. So, part of the thing is that I do boundaries. I didn't go live yesterday because of the Zuffa card. I don't like going live during the fights, and then it was late. And then I didn't go live Sunday, but I did live Saturday with Tommy, Friday. You guys know the deal. We're back. We're back. We'll talk a little bit about this past weekend. We feel like we're trending once again, JSB Insiders. We are trending in that essence of what January, February, March, and April was like. 16 weeks of plentifulness. We're trending there again. You can feel it. We're back on our dog of the week. We're starting a new streak. We got into a few debates last week, and our fighters won. I know a lot of you guys picked a lot of, and it's fine. Nobody gets it 100%, but it feels good to be back on track in terms of what we see, The two hottest debated fights for me in my circle last weekend were Jahai Tucker versus Yuri Cedeno. And I understand why people liked Yuri, and it was a close fight, but we got that one right, which was great. Kane Sandoval versus Brandon Lee, same sort of thing. I think the Jahai Tucker, interesting because fights are scored round by round. After the first 5 rounds of Brandon Lee versus Kane, I think it could have been 3-2 either way. People were like, Brandon Lee was way up. I disagree. I don't think there was one moment. Let's see, 10 rounds, 3 minutes, around 30 minutes. I don't think if you take the 30 minutes of the fight, I don't think you could find a full 3 minutes of all of the rounds together. If you watch the 30 minutes of Brandon versus Kane, you'd be hard pressed to find 3 minutes collectively pieced together of Brandon Lee doing what he wanted to do. Kane Sandoval looked great, leveled up. I told you he'd fight for our money, so that was good. And then I'm gonna leave this live. The World Cup is on, guys. That's why I was a little bit late. The shootout. How about Germany? Germany is no longer with us, so rest in peace to Germany. I remember when the U.S. beat Paraguay 4-1. All of the World Cup experts were saying the U.S. sucks. The U.S. isn't good. Anyone could beat Paraguay. All right. Are those goalposts still there? Because Germany didn't beat Paraguay, and Germany is no más. Buenos noches, hermana. Hermanica. Buenos noches. Arrivederci. Mochi mochi. Sayonara. Whichever language you'd like to say. Goodbye. Good night. Salutations. Germany is no longer with us. That's why I was an hour late. I was watching the shootout. Who doesn't love soccer when there's penalty kicks? Let's go. And we got the Dutch playing here shortly. So I'm a big Orange Army guy. So I like the Dutch. We're going to say what's up to the boys. Like this video. Not a lot this week. There's a Japanese card on Friday. We'll see if we get odds. We got the top ranked card in Ohio. Abdullah Mason. We'll talk about that. I don't think there's UFC. We'll find what we do, and we'll do what we always do, and we'll find our victories. Okay? So I'm going to start saying what's... let's do this real quick. Okay. Kane, Sandoval. Join our Discord. We're approaching 550 JSB insiders. All right. This is the one. So Ryo beat the piss out of Edwin. Shout out to Ryo. Ryo's a guy I can't get right with. I always win money when I bet against him. This time it burned me. But I only had that on one ticket. I had that on a little sneaky ticket with Jahai. I think I had Jahai money line. Maybe one other fighter from the Zuffa card, and then De Los Santos for a half unit. But the big one for me was the dog. Okay. Oh, they're going to try to flag us, aren't they? Great knockout, yes. 10 seconds of illegal punch. There's 1 second of illegal punch. Wait for it. He's down. Another. That was 100% an illegal punch. Illegal punch down. Was that illegal? He's down. Another one. Down. 100%. 100% it's illegal. Why do we have rules? But then Mike Coppinger says that he caught up with Jeff Mullen, executive director of the NSIC, regarding the Ryo punch that connected while De Los Santos was on the canvas. 100% determined that after the replay from multiple angles that the left hand grazed the chain and mostly connected shoulder and had no impact on the result. Maybe Ryo beat the piss out of Edwin, but why are there rules? Let's look at it one more time. It hit the chain, meaning the shoulder. It hit him in the chin spot. It hit him in the chin. Chin. Yeah. Wait for it. You know they're going to flag me for this video. We could talk about that one. Okay. Okay, player. That's the big one. Yeah, my take. You should know my take by now. Obviously, Ryo. I picked Edwin in that fight. He was losing that fight. My take on it, though, isn't I took Edwin or I took Ryo Valenzuela stance. Why do we have rules? My take is why don't the announcers even mention it? This is horrible. It was horrible for boxing. You're telling me you got guys like Andre Ward in the booth with guys like Max Kellerman, one of them, like, world champion boxer, the last American to win a gold medal and become a world champion, in Ward, and Kellerman, who's been in the game for decades. You're telling me our sport is so corrupt that when these guys who spend their whole life in the sport, I didn't bring this up to have it reversed. I didn't bring this up to make up an excuse because I took the other guy. My whole thing is the ethics of the sport. You guys who are in my Discord know that I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Ryo. I'm not a fan of Edwin De Los Santos. I'm not a fan of any fight. I'm a fan of the sport. So I'm doing that video to. How do you guys not even mention that, though? Ryo drops Edwin. Edwin has a glove on, his knee is on the ground, and his glove is on the ground, and he gets hit again. You got to at least mention that. Nothing was even said. And I guarantee the truck was in their ear. Don't say anything. Don't mention it. You know what I'm saying? I guarantee they didn't talk about it. Hold on 1 second, guys. I got a visitor. I'm gonna call you. Take them. I'll write it for you. Hold on. You need my phone number. Yeah, I want to stream. I know. I'm gonna come into your bathroom. All right, call me. 0. All right, brother. Here you go. What's your number? I'm writing it down for you. Here you go. Thanks. Yes, sir. You got it? Call me. Ooh, all right. I was a guy who has to come and fix my my sauna. So I have a sauna in my bathroom that I built. Usually these guys should call me or email me or message me. It just shows up at my door. I'm like, no, bitch. I'm on a live stream. Where was I? Okay. You can't see a clear, blatant foul and not say anything. It just makes our sport look shitty. That's all I'm saying. And then, the casuals, Ryo got his get back because with the first, I get all that. I saw the first fight. I know how it happened. I get all that. That's not why I do the video. I'd like to think that our group has a little bit of nuance to it, to be able to have a boxing IQ to read between the lines. When I literally in that breakdown, the 60-second video, I said Ryo was beating the brakes off of Edwin. So it had nothing to do with betting. The betting comes secondary, third. I don't give a shit about that. My whole thing is the sport. You get to not even mention it drives me freaking insane. I don't know why that should, if you guys are boxing fans, that should freaking piss you off. To not be allowed to mention it, man, that fucking fires me up. Anyway, that's why I did the video, though. We got a good card. The boys in Ohio, man, Not a lot. There aren't many moments in my life where I wish I was back in Northeast Ohio. I grew up in Youngstown. You guys know that. I left Youngstown, Ohio when I was 18 years old in 2000, so 26 years ago. But I go home every year. My whole family's there. My sisters, my mother, cousins, they all live in Northeast Ohio. I go to Cleveland every time I go home. I would love to be in Cleveland for this fight. Kane bringing that belt to ass, boy. He beat the brakes off of Brandon Lee. Don't get it twisted. They tried robbing him. One of the judges called it a draw. Man, get out of here. And I do want to thank. I do want to thank one of the. This is a cool comment, Johnny. You're always spitting facts, no bias, no fanboy shit, just boxing. Appreciate you. This is our group. This is the team that we have. This is I don't really like doing think ahead fights, but I put this in our Discord. I think Hiroka versus Ryle would be a good matchup. I'll share the results in our Discord. New pound for pound rankings. Some people didn't like this. Boots is in the top 10. I assume Boots will be in the top 10 for at least, I mean, the foreseeable future, right? It was kind of a coming out party. Crawford, Bud doesn't think, but Bud Crawford, go watch the Porter Way podcast. Sean Porter, Northeast Ohio kid. Crawford was on Sean Porter's podcast, and he was acknowledging Jaron Ennis's performance, and he was giving him props and saying that Boots is a beast. But he did bring up a good question. He said, "Are we overrating this performance?" He was like, on the record, the odds, Jaron Ennis was a 4-1 favorite to beat Xander. It's not like Jaron was a 4-1 dog and he beat Xander. Because if you remember, Crawford was an underdog against Errol. Crawford was an underdog against Canelo. I don't think he was the dog against Madrimov, but I think it was close. I don't think those odds were wide. Boots was a 4-1 favorite against Sanders, so he brings up a good point. It's not like everybody was thinking he was going to lose. So it's just something to take home. I'd be interested in your thoughts on that. Yeah. OHIO. We up 330 in the house. 216. Let's go. I don't think it matters. Do your road work. Do your road work, boys. That's me running. I train. I live like a samurai. I live like a professional. At this stage of the game, if you're not treating your body right, you're not treating your mind right. And if your mind ain't right, how could your body be right? All right. Politics. Do you think Top Rank is going to rob Albert Bells? He's not going to have anything for Abdullah. There's no robbery. No. We'll get to that too. I'll break that. I'm uploading Albert. I'm uploading Albert Bell versus Mason. I'm uploading Tiger Johnson. I'm uploading Shushu Carrington. I might even do Derek's fight. So you're gonna get a lot of stats and live videos. Wonderful weekend. Yeah, man. Good energy. Good energy going into it. The Dutch. Orange Army, baby. Let's go. That game starts in 40 minutes. The reason why I like the Dutch is I'm a soccer casual, and I think I only watched during the World Cup, and I always tell the story. It was either in 2014. I think they were playing Germany in like the final 8, and the Netherlands had Van Persie and Robin. That's the only 2 guys I know. And their style of play was so exciting, and they were playing a Germany team back then. Their style of play was so it was just this contrast that kind of caught my eye. And then I started watching every World Cup after that. Dude, every time I bet on Valenzuela, I lose. Bet every time Did you take Ryo to beat Gary Antoine Russell? Did you take Ryo? No. I was on Yuri. Yeah, a lot of you guys, which is fine. I only bring it feels like when Yuri lost, how he lost, it's how I thought he was going to lose. I thought Yuri was overrated. I thought the 14-0 record with 12 knockout wins from Dominican was inflated. I didn't think his power is real. And I felt like Jahai Tucker, 23 years old, was way more seasoned. I much rather, when I'm betting my money, it's one of my betting perimeters. I see, and this is in close fights, I'm like, who has been through more? Has this kid been through adversity? How much adversity has he been through? How much tread is on the tires? What is his quality of opponents like? And when you're doing the tape on Yuri, if you just do the tape, you just watch his highlights, and that's why I think a lot of the people who like Yuri just watch the highlights. And I'm not saying you did that because a lot of people bet on Yuri. It was a 50-50 fight going into fight night. A lot of people did. I'm just talking about my reasoning was all the things I just mentioned was more than the tape. I mean, I've won money on Cedeno before. You know, he was a 50-50 fight against William Atundi, and we got him at plus money, taking him on points. I did a debate with Julius when that fight went down. So yeah, I understand it. It was a very popular pick. I'm just referencing it felt good to see how it went because that's exactly how I thought it was going to go. And if Cedeno had that real power, I think he would have got Jahai out of there. He landed some clean shots on Jahai, but Jahai just used his boxing pedigree to do what he had to do to win rounds and win the fight. Cristo morning. Curious what made you change to Edwin, because I remember earlier in the week you were leaning towards Ryo and I had info on Edwin struggling in camp. That's what sold me on Ryo. It was hard for me to get that ass beating he took against GAR out my mind. You know, like it's really, and I talked about it on a live stream earlier in the week. One of the other thing, and this is why we all have to have our perimeters. We all have to look. I'm not sitting here, Christos, into Boxing Wiz and everybody else on this live. I never sit here telling you that I know more than you. So now that we're clear, right? It's never been my goal to sit here through the screen and project myself as an expert. I sit here as your peer. If you're a JSB insider, I sit here as part of your team. It's not like it's our team. So that being said, sometimes when we have our own sort of rule set that we abide by, they don't always work out. One of mine is, what have you done for me lately? I know Ryo was coming off of that win in his first Zuffa fight, but it wasn't an exciting win. And he got hit a lot in that fight on Zuffa. And then, what have you done for me lately? In my head, it was really tough for me to get out of my head that ass beating he took against Gary Antoine Russell. So then I'm thinking, like, this guy, is he faded? Is he already shot for only being in his mid to late 20s? We've seen him knocked out before multiple times. The guy he was going against, he got stopped. So the reasoning, and you know, that was my reasoning. Soccer, it's football. Ziggy. I know this video is about Mason over Bell. I don't know who you're taking. I don't know much about Bell. We'll get there. This video is more like a recap. Yeah, stylistically, Shakur would want to fight a guy like Gary because he would be able to neutralize everything Gary does really well. And that would be a really boring fight. I wish Shakur didn't pick his back. I wish Shakur would just fight whoever they... I'm a big Shakur fan. I'm a big Gary Antoine Russell fan. It makes a lot of sense for Shakur to want to fight Gary Antoine Russell. And it makes a lot of sense on why Gary wouldn't want that fight. Youngin, my guy. Germany, can't believe it. True story. What's up, Mags? Appreciate you. Yeah, boots ended -450. So it's not like, how much do we want to celebrate this? Barry Tapia, what a great last name, boxing last name. That's like boxing royalty. When your last name is Tapia, boxing royalty. Great weekend. Super chat, Mosby. Appreciate you, brother. Great weekend of boxing. You had some good picks. I think you went one. I don't know if it was you, Mosby, but somebody in the Discord, and this is what I love to hear. Somebody in the Discord was like, Johnny, I listened to you with Jahai. I listened to you with Sugar Sandoval, but I went against De Los Santos and I picked Ryo and I hit. I'm like, bro, this isn't what I want you guys to do. I share my tickets so you know that I have skin in the game. I show you my bets, not to say, hey, these are my bets follow me because I am the Lord your God. Thou shalt not seek other gods before me. That's not what I do that for. I say, if anything, why I share my bets is to show you what I have, show you my hands, and then you could then, off of your own assertment, be like, hey, I like what he's doing here, but I'm gonna go against the grain on him here. I like that pick, but I think he's up. Like, do that, right? So when you guys are like 80% following me, and then you switch one that I miss on, but you hit, that's what I want to see. That's the group. That's our community in a nutshell. Those are JSB insiders. We are a group of well-educated, well-researched boxing fans. We're not boxing casuals. There's going to be some along the way. Certain fighters have fans. You guys know that Tim Tszyu versus Errol Spence fight week is going to be a dumpster fire. You know that the Errol fan base is amazing. And you know that we saw a little bit of it this weekend in the Discord. We know that Puerto Rican fan base is amazing for boxing and Xander. And so, but for the most part, excluding these big sort of fights that break through the ethos of boxing and a pop culture, it's pretty educated in there. Getting a discount. I think so. I think because it's a late replacement, because Albert Bell's undefeated, because he's a little bit taller than him, but Albert can't punch. Abdullah has the longer reach. Don't get it twisted. This is Abdullah's homecoming. He's putting his belt on the line for the first time in Cleveland, Ohio. I think Abdullah makes this look easy. I think Abdullah walks Bell down because Abdullah got feet. He obviously wants to bang. He's a throwback, man. This kid is all excitement. And I don't think that, and I know that Bell doesn't have that type of power for 12 rounds. Albert Bell, 33 years old, never fought a 12-rounder. Just keep that in mind. Great shiny glossy record, good amateur, good jab. You know, some could, and if you guys, nobody would, you know, people didn't want to fight him not because he was dangerous. There's just certain styles that won't that it's hard to look good against. So my question isn't will Mason win? My question is how will Mason win? So props haven't dropped yet. That's where we're gonna have to make our money this week. I gave you guys a parlay already. There's a 4-legger, a top rank. And remember, guys, this is top rank. What you guys are knowledgeable. Top rank A sides are kind of like I've never once said a lock. I don't believe in locks. I don't think there's any such thing as locks. But look at the history of top rank A sides on top rank cards. It's insane. So I got Derek, Shushu, and Della a 4-leg money line plus money. I gave that to the insiders yesterday. Good luck to see if it's plus money now. Who knows? But, and you guys know we only give plus money tickets. So, guys, we're 20 minutes in. We got 60 of you guys in here. Could you like this video? If you're not in our Discord, the link is pinned. It's a couple bucks a month. We're approaching 550 JSB insiders. It's a betting community, a professional betting academy. It's all pro sports. It's not just boxing. But on boxing nights, we stream the fights in there. The couple dollars a month to enter the club is well worth it. Just ask the boys. You can either join here on YouTube or Patreon. Crawford was a minus 700 versus Madrimov. What was he against Canelo? I don't think he was a minus 700 against Madrimov. Show me where to find that at. What was he against Canelo? What was he against EJ? So Crawford closes a minus 150, so almost 50-50 against Errol. So he was the dog. He was the dog against opened. Oh, that first one is if they were going to rematch, but they never rematched. So he was the dog against Canelo. So this is what he was talking about. Crawford beat up on Canelo as the underdog. So Majimov was plus 370 against Bud. Crawford was the slight favorite against EJ. Massive favorite against Ava. Favorite against Porter. 50-50 against Amir Khan. Wow. Massive favorite against Benny. Favorite against Horn. Yeah, so it seems to be. It's actually quite shocking for a guy the caliber of Crawford. We could find two fights that he was an underdog in. It's tough to do. You guys know boxing. It's tough to do. Shocking he was a pick'em against Amir Khan. And then he was a dog against Canelo. Interesting. I love numbers. Who else is a nerd when it comes to stats? Do you reckon Skull have it? That's an 8-rounder, guys. Don't William Skull is coming up. Has he fought since Jacob Bank knocked him out? Come on, boys. I don't hopefully the boys we're not getting those odds. It's okay to take a week. We got Top Rank. Look, let's rest up. Let's heal our body. Let's recover our bodies, whether you get into ice baths, float tanks, get massages, get acupuncture. Do something to repair the body. We'll repair our mind. We'll relax. And we'll focus everything on that Top Rank Cleveland card. We're going to make our money picking method of victories. So that's where my energy is going. Will Tiger be in the fight that he wants to be? Will Tiger's opponent fight him like Nick Flass fought him? Because welterweight Tiger is a different Tiger. Welterweight Tiger's a beast. Will Albert Bell be in the ring to win, or will he show up to survive? So then we got, I don't have props yet. We have to see what that looks like, points or knockout. Will Carrington, be in a firefight? The Castro firefight. So that's where we're gonna make our money. We don't have to bet on a Germany card in which it's a get back fight for William Skull in an 8-rounder. Let's be careful with that. Give me 1 second, boys. We don't have to bet on every fight, guys. This dude's making me tear out my shit. Let's go. Dude's knocking on my door. Come and knock on your door. I've been waiting for you. Mason Tiger Shushu 180. Tapia, let's pull these odds up then. I guess we're here now. It's Tuesday, June 30th, 10:35 a.m. We'll take a look at the odds that we're getting here in Sydney, Australia. It's not the end of the world that there's not a lot of action, guys. Sometimes it's a good thing. Life's not a sprint. You know what I'm saying? We don't always have to be freaking balls to the wall. All right. Yeah, so my book's offering those 4 fights I took. So right now, okay, so let's see if the odds shifted. So I gave this bet to the VIPs yesterday, and it was paying plus 105. It's already down to $1.94. So it's already dropped, 10 points. So I took this money line ticket, a four-legger quad, at plus money yesterday. It's dropped because that's what happens in our group. We have about 550 bettors in there. As soon as I drop picks, it'll shift, it'll shuffle. I'm very confident that these four will win. So depending on your bank, or even guys, 94% return on the money line. Derek to win, Tiger to win, Bruce to win, and Mason to win. It's a great return. So if I were you guys right now, whether your bankroll is $50 or 1,000, I would bet this. I would 100% be comfortable betting this. And then I went full unit on this four-legger. So I know a lot of you guys want to know how much I'm betting. Whatever your unit is, like I said, $10, $50, $100, $1,000, whatever your unit is. I've gone full unit on a four-legger. I usually don't do that. I usually do a full unit on like an underdog or a full unit on a prop. But this is a top-rank A-side card, guys. We know history. We know Bob Arum. We know what we're dealing with here, man. We're not day oneers. We've been here since jump. We know what to expect. I don't think we're going to see any surprises by Albert Bell. I've been watching the kid for over a decade. I think Mason does what he want to do with him. It's going to come down to, will Albert Bell make the choice in the 5th or 6th round and be there to win the fight or be there to survive? And if he's there to win the fight, he's getting knocked out. Mark this, bookmark this, cut this up. If Albert Bell is coming to Cleveland, Ohio from Toledo, and just so you guys know, as a Northeast Ohio boy, just because they're both from Ohio, there's a rivalry. We look at Toledo. You're from Toledo. You might as well be from Michigan. You're not from Cleveland. You're not from the land. There's rivalries within Ohio. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like the Toledo kid's going to get A-side favorability in Cleveland. You're crazy. Albert Bell might as well be from Alaska come fight night. That's real. So it's going to come down to, will he want to win or will he want to survive? If he wants to survive, it's going to go the distance. If he wants to win, he's getting knocked out. That's the best I could give you. And when props drop, I'll let you guys will be the first to know who I'm taking. I didn't bet on the fight with Russell. The balance of the fight wasn't that great to me. It looked like the first one. It was a good clean hit wins. I feel about the living level. Yeah, after watching Albert Bell, he's a good fighter, but doesn't do anything better than Mason. He drops his hands a lot of punching. I do is to catch him while punching. I agree. Barry cooking Logie. Where Barry at? Barry cooking Logie. He has a good last name. Danny Roja. You get tickets to the Spence fight. We're going to the Spence fight. Are you going? I'm also going the week before. There's Wanderer Promotions. Ricky Colosimo, his fight promotion is fighting at the casino. You should go to that one, youngin. The casino fights are always fun. Johnny, last minute I decided to go with Jose. That's amazing. I did not expect to do the way they give the cane fake. Nathan, we talked about it. I appreciate you. I lost 300 on boots. Same. Yeah, and look, I didn't bet 300, but I did bet boots on points, and that was, sometimes our adoration for fighters goes against us. A lot of the bettors I knew who bet Boots by knockout were massive Boots fans, and they were going to bet him by knockout regardless. Sometimes when you watch and you come at it from a non-opinionative perspective, it could come back to bite you, because my partial Boots points ticket was based on the fact of my respect and adoration for Xander. Bigger guy, more comfortable at the weight class. Out of respect for Xander, partially it's like, hey, it'd be disrespectful to say Boots is just going to wipe him. But, it doesn't always go our way. Yeah, I understand. I'm not here to just take your picks. That's how to learn more boxing part of the community. We up. Hey, did you guys see the new shirts? I haven't told anybody. I was gonna tell you guys. I was gonna surprise you guys by wearing it, but check out the new shirts. Where did that go? So this is for sale in the merch shop. We up. I want to see how it looks. So I got some in the mail. If you guys want to support my channel, if you want to support, become a JSB insider. I got 2 shirts. We have a t-shirt, a merch shop in our store on YouTube. The first one is the Swindler tee. That's our OG, the Swindler white tee. We also have the Swindler hoodie. If you wear denim, if you like denim, like don't sleep on the white Swindler hoodie. The white Swindler hoodie looks good if you're rocking like some nice denim with some Timbs. That hip hop swag. 90s hip hop swag too. I don't know what the young kids are wearing these days. When I was coming up, hip hop was like rock a nice like hoodie, clean looking though, pressed with some nice jeans, clean and some Timbs. Come on, boy. Swaggy. Maybe throw a beanie on. Let's go, the we up. They're gonna hate us for it. They're really when they start seeing the we up t-shirts, they're gonna hate us for it, boy. You know the haters are out there like I also went to the casino a lot. What are you going to the casino for, player? Lost 3 fight before we were gonna leave. Had $9 left with the aunties. I hit a Mac. Max into a game. You're a beast, Nathan. Shout out to the aunties. It's crazy because I do not hit slots on my table. I've never pulled my own money for slots since I was 18. I never played slots. I was sweating my boots was hurting. Bro. So I think there's a conversation to be had about take-home points. I'd like to have somebody on if you guys want to talk. If somebody wants a link, we could talk about lessons we learned from Boots, lessons we learned from Xander. From Xander, for me, I knew he was tough as nails. It was so. I felt like he could have survived. I felt like he could have used the ring. The good news for Xander is he didn't go out unconscious. The brain didn't shut off. He was taking a beating. He took some big shots, and he was still alert. He looks at his corner stops it. That's a big difference from going out cold. Neurologically speaking, when we get knocked out cold, our brain now has that neuroplasticity of knowing when there's said trauma, shut the brain off. So it becomes easier and easier for someone to knock you out when the lights go out. I was glad at 23 years old Xander's lights didn't go out. You don't want to see that happen for a kid so young. Okay, so I'm glad that didn't happen. Moving forward, he'll be fine. He's not going to fight many Jaron Ennis's in his career. Who knows? Maybe they have a rematch down the road at 160. Who knows? Take home points for Boots for me is, mate, you gotta work on your defense, dude. You gotta work on your defense. Xander's not a big puncher. When have we ever seen Jaron's head get snapped back like a Pez dispenser? And he doesn't look big at 54. He does not look big at 54, mate. And there's some big punchers at 54. And I knew this was going to happen, and the boxing heads knew this was going to happen. If Boots went out there and starched Xander, which he did, got him out of there, Boots' fan base was going to grow, the casual fan base was going to grow, and he was going to be, the talk of the town, and he's the best fighter in the world, and he would knock everybody out. You guys need to slow your roll on that. Like, realistically, Xander's not a puncher. Realistically, Xander had Boots in trouble. Boots overcame it. Didn't look comfortable in there for a while. Did what he had to do. Tough as nails. If he gets hit clean like that, and I'm just going through punchers in the division. I'm not saying these fights will ever happen. But like Murtazaev hits him clean like that, what's going to happen? Seb Fandora hits him clean like that, what's going to happen? Verge hits him clean like that, what's going to happen? Josh Kelly could punch. That's the fight I want to see. I know Kelly has a fight scheduled. He's fighting July 25th, I think. And you guys might call me crazy, but from a fan-friendly perspective, from 2 styles, one's from the UK, one's from Philly, both sort of pride themselves on doing things looking good on paper, a unified world title. I'd rather see Kelly versus Boots first, and then the winner fights Seb for undisputed. Because what makes more so? Josh is fighting July. Josh still has to come out on top. He has to get the win. Is it? Am I tripping? Does Josh is that shit scheduled? Is that shit scheduled or no? No, it's not. Nothing's booked. Nothing's scheduled. I swear I got a message today that said he was fighting in July. It is July. What the hell am I talking about? We would have known this. It's just rumors. He was rumored to be fighting Agarco July 25th. No. Yeah. Did you guys hear this? People message me. I get messages. I get woken up by messages, dude. I live this shit. Okay, so I knew I wasn't freaking going crazy. It was just a bit breaking. So breaking news. My buddy who's over there said that he signed to fight him. Agarco next year on July 25th. That's in 3 weeks. This fight is getting no pub. Josh Kelly looks set to make the first defense of his title against Kayman Agarco 25th in Saudi Arabia. This is on the undercard of the Anthony Joshua card, right? All right. So that we know that, right? Do they just take, I bet you Matchroom, what does Eddie do? Would Eddie do, if Josh wins Josh and Jerron now, would he do that in the UK? That would sell out a football stadium. Or does he take Jerron and fight Seb? I don't know. What do you guys think? Yo, Johnny, what's the name of that show you were talking about a while ago? It's like Guy Humor. Oh, the In-Betweeners. Bro, watch it. Don't judge me. Something I never talk about. I spent my 20s. Once I was done playing competitive baseball. If a lot of you guys are in your 20s, don't stress out about life. I don't know how old you guys are. From the time I was 21 to 22 till about 30, I would wake up every day like screaming at the sky, wishing that some power would tell me what I was supposed to be doing. I knew that I had skills. I knew I wanted to do something. I just didn't know my direction. So if you guys are in that stage of your life, just keep persevering. It'll come to you. It'll come to you. But in my 20s, I spent a lot of my days smoking a lot of weed. I had hair down to here, cornrows, piercings, my eye, my tongue, my ears, everything was pierced. And this was like in the day, and I used to sell green. I used to transport it. I used to make some stupid decisions. Knock on wood, never got in trouble. But the In-Betweeners is a great stoner comedy series, dude. That shit, friend. Yes, it is the CTE gambling show. Did you hear about the sparring between them in the past years? Now Bill got the bet. Yeah, but you got to understand, Abdullah's only 22. So what was that sparring? When Abdullah was 19? When he was 20? And what do you make of? I don't hold any credence in sparring. Did you guys see the sparring footage from 2017 with Crawford and Bronco? You watch the sparring footage from Adames and Crawford in 2017, people be like, "Oh, Adames got the better of Bud." Or the sparring footage of Paulie Spadafora versus Floyd Mayweather. There's 6 rounds of that. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of extraneous variables that go into sparring. Like when you watch Spadafora spar Floyd, Spadafora was in fight camp. He was like 7 days out from a fight, and Floyd had been off for 3 months. And so I don't really put too much sort of credence into sparring stories. You know what I'm saying? Xander, Puerto Rico, boxing general, all won this weekend. Glad he's the new face of PR. They need someone to rep them. Such a likable guy. I agree. No, I agree. Everything you just said, bro. Bell looked pretty bad. The thing about Albert Bell is he's never had a viral moment. He's never had that one thing that sent him sort of like never made news waves. Top Rank didn't handle him well. He leaves Top Rank. Not a big puncher. I don't want to call his style negative style, but he has a defensive minded style, jab heavy, use the entire ring, counter you sort of thing. Doesn't have one punch pop. Not a big hitter. You can't tell me 5 guys he's fought at 33 years old. He's never had a 12 rounder. That sort of thing. Great call on Kane Sandoval, Marvin Simodio with a great bro. That game plan was spot on. I love that game plan. We knew that Kane in his early 20s was going to show levels. We knew that he was going to take lessons from the J Rod fight and implement them there. And we were in his ear. I was sharing with you guys all fight week the conversations I was having back and forth with Kane. I've been talking to Kane since he lost to Julian Rodriguez. I love those first few rounds fighting Brandon from the outside. And then him showing off his skill. And dude, Kane is a great TV fighter for sure. Kane is a great TV fighter. I think if that fight goes 12 rounds, Kane stops him. Brandon Lee took a punch. At least we know Brandon Lee could take a beating. But Brandon Lee got his ass beat. People said that was a draw. Get out of here. You got anybody who says that was a draw, you bet on Brandon Lee. Brandon Lee got beat up. Everybody could see that. When you watch that fight, the totality of that fight, Brandon Lee got beat up. Crawford was a slight dog in the Canelo fight. I think Canelo was around. Yo, homie, what it do? TJ, what up, player? TJ, when you coming through? Yeah, Spence Zoo card is stacked. I'll be at that card. Wish I could have run and put up the kids' college funds. That Amir Khan fight. Charlo's fighting Cohen Muzadere. Stephen Fulton is fighting Liam Wilson. There's some good prospects on that undercard. It's just I got my eye on Liam Wilson versus Stephen Fulton. I mean, which Fulton are we going to get? Stephen Fulton, if he fight, there are parallels in Liam Wilson's style to Brandon Figueroa's style. A guy who, kind of wants to be in the wheelhouse and land his big hook. Liam Wilson, takes a lot to give a lot. Doesn't have the best feet. Biggest moment came against Navarrete when he dropped Navarrete in the 4th round in Mexico, and he should have won by knockout. And it's not controversy at this point. Rewatch what happened in the 4th, and then it was a 27 count. Wilson was celebrating. He thought he won, and then he ends up getting stopped in the 9th. And then the Oscar Valdez knockout loss. So both times Liam Wilson has gone abroad, stepped up, sort of thing. He's lost. I mean, will Stephen Fulton fight for your money? Do you guys feel comfortable with this version of Stephen Fulton to put your money on him? If I get Liam Wilson at plus 200, plus 250, that's a no-brainer for me. Here's the biggest difference right now you guys need to know between Liam Wilson and Stephen Fulton. Liam Wilson lives every moment of his life since that Navarrete fight. Every moment, every decision he makes is trying to be a world champion. He's obsessed with the entire thing. I don't know that about Stephen Fulton. Stephen Fulton, to me, doesn't look great. Doesn't look great. And we know at this level, mindset can be everything. Fulton's traveling far away. Fulton's by far the better boxer, more skills. If Fulton is the guy who beat Figueroa the second time Fulton beats Wilson, Fulton can make it look easy. But if he's going to show any signs of being lazy or not wanting to be there, Liam Wilson can knock him out. This fight is in 2 weeks. I like Popo to beat Eubank. Let's go. We'll look at the odds in a second. Got 3 fights. Yeah, we don't have a lot of fights yet. We're going to get... It's only Tuesday, guys. It's only Tuesday. I don't see Derek on Bet365. I got him on Sportsbet. Are you getting odds? Are you guys getting props? Let me know. Tiger, Bruce, Abdullah. Yeah, that's where our money's going to be at. I won big on Ryo versus... Nice. Beautiful. Last time I went, Alex lost. I was burning. Are we talking about Volk? Oh, the Wonder cards are getting better. You really think Bell? Nah, he's not live. Alive. Mason runs through him. Salute. Yo, John, I think all them boys getting the knockouts. So do I. So do I. We just gotta wait till props. Look, we're gonna talk about it all week. I'm uploading my video next. Hit notifications on my channel so when you guys see my edited breakdown videos, you get notified. We put things into the cup of when we're betting. You know, how many go in this cup versus how many go in this cup. When you're putting the things into Abdullah Mason's cup, his cup is overflowing. When you're trying to add things into Bell's cup, there's not a lot to add. I'm trying to be gracious here. Did you take Zayas or did you take Boots on points? And this is the constant turmoil of the bettor, because a lot, like, we picked Boots, but the odds were so shitty. Yeah, you picked him and he won, so why aren't you happy? Because the odds were so shitty, we now have to get sexy. And I picked Boots on points and he won by knockout, so I lose. So is that what you mean, or did you pick Xander? Do you ship? I don't ship anything. I have a partnership. I don't handle the shirts. I don't print the shirts. There's a partnership that I have to where you just go online, pick a shirt, pay, and they'll send it to you. After watching Boots versus Ice, I've come to the conclusion Boots is not on the same level as Shakur, Bud, or Floyd. He looks beatable. I think Boots looks very beatable. I think I agree with you, Barry. I think Boots looks very beatable. There's a lot to be desired with his defense. There's a lot to be desired with his decision making. There's a lot to like. If anything, I would say Jaron Ennis, he's very beatable, man. I don't think Ennis retires undefeated. It's not hard to see Ennis getting knocked out. I'm not going to predict. I'm not here to predict anything. I've been doing videos on Ennis and writing about Ennis for at least 5 years now. So, you know, I respect all fighters. But watch my breakdown of Ennis versus Zayas. I talked about this. I said that Ennis gets away with a lot of things because he's so gifted. He has a lot of flaws. There's a lot of things he does unorthodox that he gets away with now. He's what, 28? Do you think he's going to get away with those same things at 32? We'll see. Ask Roy Jones Jr. that. Guys like this main downfall is they love to fight. Boots loves to fight and brawl because he's always been better than everyone. If someone could trick him into doing that, I could see it. I could see it, man. Think about guys, all of our favorite fighters we've seen lose or get stopped that you never thought you'd see get stopped. There's no even second closest best sport in the world. It's boxing, the greatest sport on earth, and then everything else. The decision, because you have the rule set. Sometimes people break the rules. You know, any part of your body on the ground, a downed opponent, disqualification. That's what happens. Not always. But I mean, 2 fists. And with these 2 fists in your feet, it's up to you how you spread the wealth, right? Bro, you can't predict how a fighter's going to react in the storm. Some fighters shy away and hide and disappear, and some fighters elevate. So there's a lot to like about Jaron Ennis, man. From that standpoint, how do you not like Jaron Ennis? I don't care. How would anybody watching that kid fight? How would anybody hate? Same with Xander. Same with freaking Xander. And this is one of my biggest questions going into the fight was I have never seen Jaron having to be the B-side or be questioned about not being the hammer. We've always seen Jaron being the hammer. We've never seen Jaron being the nail and having to come out of it and then become the hammer again. Well, guess what? I just saw that. And I think he's going to be better for it. Dude, Xander made him answer some questions. And Xander didn't try to survive. I was talking, shout out to Bum Equipment. He's in our Discord. I was talking to him before I went live about how Xander, when he was really hurt in the 5th, and then he survives, he could have easily, he has the skills. We all know that Xander has the skills to survive on the outside. We saw him extremely hurt, and he overcame that storm. He came back in the 6th, and it, and then he gets stopped in the 7th. And I was talking to Bum Equipment. I was like, man, I was kind of shocked to see that he didn't use the entire ring or try to recover again and take the 7th off and see if he could. And I came to terms with, like, you know what, that's not who he is. He's either fighting the way he fights, and he's always won doing it. It's all he knows. It's in his blood. If that doesn't motivate somebody, seeing Xander fight that way and get stopped was super inspiring to me. I don't know how for you guys to, if you guys don't understand that, I don't know how to explain that to you. I had money on Duran. I picked Xander to lose, but watching Xander lose like that, for me, this is why we love boxing. It was inspirational. That kid doesn't know. I mean, it wasn't the smartest thing to do. I'd be pulling my hair out if I was his coach, but it's like the archaic spirit. It's like your ancestral DNA sort of thing is who we are as people. It comes out in a fight. And that's who Boots is. We get to see who these guys are through adversity. Like, that's the first time we got to see really get to know who Jaron Ennis was. And watching him knock Usman Lima out in 1 round, it doesn't tell me anything. I don't know him at all. Watching him do what he wanted to do against Avanesian, watching him destroy Stanionis, watching him look very disinterested against Chukachin 2 times. I don't really know who he is. I don't know who a guy is until they got to answer some stuff. They got some, and then you get to see who they are. Well, guess what? We know who Jaron Ennis is. He introduced himself to me. Holy shit. Now, will that be able to work against the big hitters at 54? I don't know. Who am I to say no, though? Ava's went 100%, man. Ava in his late 20s was a freaking nightmare. You know who else? You know who else is the people hated on Josh for is Ray Robinson. Go rewatch that fight. And if you don't know who Ray Robinson is, introduce yourself to him. He's older now. I think he's 37, 38. He's a Philadelphia fighter. He fought. It was Josh's first fight and only fight in the U.S. And he fought. And this is when Josh was, I think, 16-0, maybe 15-0, maybe 11-0. He was a 2016 Olympian. He fought Ray Robinson, I think, in 2020? Anyway, he fought to a draw. And everybody was like, that's it. Kelly's that style. He's a fraud, blah, blah, blah. And then a couple fights later, he gets stopped against Ava. And then, if you guys remember, doing the film study when he got his world title fight finally against Murtazaev, and I was doing stylistic breakdowns, I was like, I like this fight for Kelly. And I was calling for that fight last August before it got made. I was like, Kelly matches up really well with Murtazaev. And sure enough, Kelly had his moment. I love a fighter who either gets beat throughout their career or things don't go their way and they have to rebuild themselves and they become a champion. These are guys that you can really bet on. And so I think moving forward, people will still doubt Kelly in that style, but you can't write him out in any of these fights. The kid's tough. And that Ray Robinson draw, Ray Robinson's a tough out for, not anymore, he's older now. And Avanesian, same thing. When Avanesian was in his prime, dude, Avanesian was a nightmare on the European scene. The Europeans knew about him. This kid, the engine he had, the volume, the pace, if he saw you wilt a little bit, you were getting buried and drowned, dude. He was drowning you. Brave style. Fun fighter to watch. Floyd Diaz was doing so well. Yeah, I didn't bet that fight. I don't think it was an early stoppage. I think the stoppage was fair. He looked like he was out on his feet. Sometimes in boxing, guys, we have these guys who are ultra skilled, but it's such a brutal sport because, in a real fight, sometimes you need more than skills. Sometimes you need, punch resilience. Sometimes you need durability. Sometimes, you need power. Not everything can be learned. Sometimes in boxing, what makes a boxer great are things that you're born with, gifts. Floyd Diaz's gifts are his hand speed. And then obviously growing up in the gym, being around guys like Floyd Mayweather, being mentored and having his skill set, his repertoire is there. But he not a puncher, and obviously that punch resistance isn't there. He was up 5-0. The boys in the Discord said the live odds were plus 1,800 on Santa Benez to win at one time. Plus 1,800. And then just like that, he wins by knockout one punch. It was crazy. Kelly fighting Agarco. He's fighting on the undercard of Kelly. You think Agarco got a chance? I'd have to watch tape. The in-betweeners bet. Always Sunny. Get him. I've never seen it. If I'm Virgil on his team, I'd be offering the bag to Kelly before Boots gets to him. I don't know, man. Virgil's a 30-year-old prospect, never fought for the same thing. I couldn't get the taste out of my mouth of Ryo getting beat up against GAR. Rewatch Virgil versus Boachuk. Virgil's pretty. I mean, it's not like Virgil has a dynamic arsenal. He could punch. And he's fun to watch. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch. I'm being the devil's advocate here. I know there's a lot of guys in boxing who think Virgil. Why they think the world of him. I look at Virgil like I look at every other fighter. So I wouldn't say that he would beat Josh. Josh's movement, his punch placement, his accuracy, his athleticism, his ability to make you miss, and he could punch, and his hand speed. Josh's hand speed's world class, dude. So to say that before Virgil gets to him, you guys said the same thing about Murtazaev. Let's see how Virgil does against Bakram. How would he do against Bakram? So I don't know, man. I would slow your roll on that. Those Liam Wilson fights with Navarrete weren't as not Mexico. Close enough. They weren't in Australia. Yo, we got DraftKings in Texas. I can finally get that knockdown prop. Get him. About to unload the clip if Cotto is plus 200 versus Ricardo. I haven't seen you in a while, Ricardo. Ricardo Veyes, man. Only Ricardo and I, and then some OG JSB insiders will know what he's talking about. You're sleeping on Bell, dude. Been boxing since he was 6 and comes from about bro. I know Upper Bell. Abdullah Mason's been boxing since he was 6 and comes from a boxing family. What is Bell? If you want to take Bell plus money, John, go, do it, brother. I'm not sleeping on him. Mason didn't stop Sam Noakes, so he literally was bringing the fight to Mason. Sam Noakes is a totally different style. I think Sam Noakes fought himself to a vacant world title fight. Sam Noakes gives a lot of people issues at 135. So all of a sudden, because Mason beat Sam Noakes on points, Sam Noakes isn't good. Sam Noakes fought his ass off in that fight. That was a hell of a fight for both guys. Both young fellas. Sam Noakes is a nightmare for a lot of guys at 35, dude. Some people just refuse to be knocked out. Once that chin goes, though, it's tough. Chocolate. I'm talking like that Chuck Liddell chin. Even though we're switching sports, it's the comparison I always have to say is there was a time in the UFC where the Iceman, he was known for having the best chin of all time. He was known for being able to take big shots. He used to fight in Japan for an organization, Pride, and he would be fighting guys like 40, 50 pounds heavier than him, knocking these guys spark out, getting hit with their best shots and eating them. And then that worked until he fought Rashad Evans. And then when he fought Rashad Evans, he got knocked out one punch. He was never the same guy. The chin was never the same. He was the same brave guy, same fight style. He never made adjustments. And then the same chin that would be able to eat these shots because the brain has a memory of trauma. When it gets hit again, the body just shuts off. And that's what happened to Chuck. And that's what I kind of meant. You never want to see the lights completely go out with a young guy. I used to love taking those decisions plus money, and when they hit, it's exciting and love the payout, but got beat too many times, I swear. Yeah, so this is why, like, from my perspective, I never used to do method of victories until you guys forced me to do it. You know, it's what's helping our channel grow, what's helping our brand grow and our community grow is because we take risks and we do our film study. I'm very transparent about everything. You guys know who I'm taking. You guys know who I'm betting for and betting against. You know the reasoning for it. And if I'm getting 20% return on $100 and I take that fight and then I post about it and say we up, you know what you guys would say. Anybody could do that. So the skill, the risk is that you can't just do that. You have, from my perspective, I mean, from a betting perspective, yeah, it's much safer. Yes. Are we friends, lights out? Because college football is about to start, and I make my bread and butter with college football. We do have a football, American football channel in our Discord, so go check it out. Yeah, I won money on Tony Hirsch. Tony Hirsch, dude, talk about a diamond in the rough. Like, doesn't happen a lot, at least for me. Doesn't happen a lot where a guy comes literally out of nowhere that I had no idea who he was. Tony Hirsch's last fight against Merriweather when he was a 7-1 dog. And he didn't just like, it's not like he starched Merriweather and like it was this, he outboxed him for what, the 8-round fight, and he outclassed him. And Merriweather was the storied guy who was next up, who had all the hype and shine, and nobody heard of Tony Hirsch outside of his family and friends and his pops and his camp. And you know he comes out in this fight and fights Jabril Pe Benito, who was coming off a great performance of his own, which he was the underdog and he knocked his opponent out in brutal fashion. And this is Zuffa matchmaking. They pair both of these guys up, and Jesus, Tony Hirsch with a knockout of the year candidate. So this is the brutality of our sport, and this is why I never bash fighters, because this is how tough and how brutal boxing is. You have a fighter like Jabril Pe Benito, who in 2 fights, he gets signed to Zuffa. First fight, he's plus 600 underdog, and he goes viral for a gorgeous in-the-pocket knockout. I think he gets a bonus, changes his whole life. I think he has like 5, 6 kids, moves his family from Hawaii to Vegas, gets propped up. We talk about him. And then his very next fight, within what, 4 or 5 months, he gets paired up against with another guy that not a lot of tape, Hirsch, and he's on the other side of one of those knockouts. And it was a bad one. It was one of those, he went out. It's one of those ones that's going to be tough. I would take, if I was Pe Benito's family, I would tell him to take a year off. It was horrific. You could hear his wife screaming if you were watching the Zuffa card. When he got knocked out, you could hear her screaming in the background. It was awful. Why I don't think he stops Bell. Bell is familiar with Mason because yeah, I agree. He's really big. He's not that big. He's he's gonna be 2.5 inches taller than Abdullah, but Abdullah has a longer reach than him. He's got a decision with Bell Mason by UD. Getting Boots knockout at -110 was a gift we really get with his knockout, right? Another one fight was not about. I think so. I agree. I don't even think that's hating. I just think that the longer, and Barry, you're probably around my age. When you're around the sport long enough, you see patterns. You can there's a bit of predictability. Is a fighter defensively minded? And it's like you have sluggers, you have boxer punchers, you have knockout artists, you have defensive minded fighters. So we know that Jaron Ennis is not a defensive minded fighter. This kid is a slugger who's going to, put the lights out, going for the knockout. And in doing that, as we get older, punch resistance isn't the same, speed isn't the same, power carries, but not anything else. Durability isn't the same. It's, bro, I thought Xander had him. Those Caribbean boxers from Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the DR often have terrible game plans. Xander and Edwin both had. I wouldn't categorize. I would maybe. I see what you're saying. Xander's game plan, yeah, Edwin's game plan was, I don't know. I think what Edwin is in Brian Norman Jr.'s camp. Those boxers' ring IQ is questionable. I'm not arguing that at all, Floyd. If I was Virgil, I would be working on controlling power, feed Boots 3 to 4 rounds of soft punches, get Boots bored, thinking there's nothing to worry about, and then boom. Did you watch the Kane Sandoval versus Brandon Lee fight? he kind of did that. He stayed on the outside for the first few rounds, and then he was slowly kind of like turning the heat up a bit, and then he would jump in and out, and he was catching Lee clean. It was a beautiful. When you see a game plan, it's very rare. You don't see it all the time. We don't see it all the time in this modern era. A game plan being laid out and executed, and then over a 10-round fight, you see the picture being painted like Sandoval did against Lee. Not a world-class fight. Neither guy will probably be a world champion ever, but real boxing fans could appreciate what we saw. And again, especially from a guy like Kane, who we've never seen box on the outside before. So now we're not only seeing a game plan being executed, we're seeing a younger guy adding levels to his game, which is even sweeter on the sweet science side of things. So there's a lot to like about it. Kelly is not durable and has terrible conditioning. He gets stopped once against Ava due to his conditioning, but other than that, he took Murtazaylev's best shot, got off the canvas, dropped Murtazaylev early, won by decision, world champion. Think of how many boxers you cheered for, Justin, who never became a world champion. Morocco has the crowd. Yeah, I'm going to turn this on in a second. I forgot that we were even playing. Guys, we've been on for an hour and 12 minutes. Like the video, there's 66 in here. Props haven't dropped yet. We're just riffing. If you guys are new to the channel, the beginning of the week, this is how we always do. We talk about our the weekend that was in boxing, and we start riffing a bit. We start kind of feeding off each other on what we're seeing for the upcoming week. We got the top ranked card this weekend in Cleveland, Ohio, headlined by Abdullah Mason versus Albert Bell. We know Mason was supposed to fight Joe Cordina, and then Cordina gets into a street fight in Wales and gets his visa revoked. Albert Bell was supposed to fight against Andy Cruz, and he was a bigger underdog against Andy Cruz, which is crazy. And I had Albert Bell to beat Andy Cruz on a parlay. So he's going into the Mason fight a little bit less of a dog. The Dutch, the Orange Army. Where are we at? Guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up soon. Boom, boom, boom. You guys are the best. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Let's do it.